former Attorney General Bill Barr is speaking out for the first time about former President Trump's false claims that the election was stolen. Barr tells our chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl that he personally looked into Trump's allegations of fraud and found there was nothing there. Now Trump is unleashing on Barr, calling him a disappointment in every sense of the word. Jonathan Karl has the story.
Bill Barr doesn't mince words. In a series of exclusive interviews, he tells me he investigated Donald Trump's claims shortly after the election and found there was just nothing there, and it was all BS.
If I found something, I had no motive to suppress it. But my suspicion all the way along was that there was nothing there. It was all
Barr told me he conducted his own informal inquiry into the major allegations Trump himself was making. He examined the evidence, he talked to the experts, he took them seriously, but it was all bunk. For example, he talked to cybersecurity experts at the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI about allegations that voting machines were rigged.
You can tell me all you want to about, this could have been hacked or, whatever. But it's a counting machine, and we save everything that was counted, so you just reconcile the two. There's a pile right there. How many ballots? 1,000.
Right.
Now let's see who they're for. There's been no discrepancy reported anywhere that's looked at that, and I'm still not aware of any discrepancy.
On December 1st, when Barr was still Attorney General, he publicly declared there was no evidence of widespread fraud, prompting Donald Trump to explode in anger during a meeting at the White House. Multiple sources who witnessed the president's reaction told me they had never seen him so angry. One said, quote, he had the eyes and mannerisms of a madman. How the expletive could you do this to me? Why did you say it? Trump demanded. Because it's true, Barr replied. You must hate Trump, the president responded. You must hate Trump.
And John Karl joins me live now for more on this. John, Barr was seen as one of Trump's most loyal cabinet members. So what do you think the fallout will be from hearing him speak so bluntly about this?
Well, you're exactly right on this. What makes this so significant is he was perhaps the most loyal cabinet member, or seen as the most loyal cabinet member. But more important than even that is that Barr was considered the most popular cabinet member among the Trump base, among the people that are out there right now who actually believe what the president has said, his lies about the election being stolen, about election fraud. So now you have that individual. This isn't some Republican in Congress or somebody that was critical of Trump. This is Bill Barr. This is the guy that stood behind Trump throughout the Russia investigation. And even Bill Barr, the ultimate Trump loyalist in his cabinet, is saying that there is nothing to these allegations, that he looked into them, and they're all, as you heard in his word, BS.
Yeah, BS. He went right for it with that one. John, I know you also spoke with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell about this. What was he saying to Barr as this whole thing was going on?
Well, this is there's so many remarkable elements to this story, and frankly, to what was going on during these final months of the Trump administration. I have been spending a lot of time over the last several months talking to all the key players, all the people that were around the president, and in his administration, outside his administration, about what was going on after the election when the president was making these outrageous allegations, in preparation for writing a book about all of this. And one of the details here that is so remarkable is that McConnell, who had said nothing publicly about these allegations until the middle of December, McConnell called Bill Barr on multiple occasions, and this account has been confirmed by not just McConnell but also Barr. So both men have told me this is accurate. That McConnell called him and was urging him, in fact, pleading with him to come out and publicly contradict the president's claims about election fraud, to come out and say there was nothing to it. So McConnell was doing this even as he himself was saying nothing about it. And here's the kicker on this is McConnell told Barr, I can't do it because I need him in Georgia, meaning he couldn't come out and say there was no fraud, that the claims were bogus, because McConnell was worried about the 2 runoff elections in Georgia, those 2 Georgia senators that had runoff elections on January 5th. And McConnell was worried that if he came out and said Biden legitimately won, there's nothing to these claims of fraud, that he would enrage Donald Trump so much that it would jeopardize those 2 Republican senators who were up for those runoff elections in Georgia. And he called repeatedly to Barr and said, you're really the only one that can do it. And ultimately, Barr did it. Barr did it. He came out not as bluntly as he did in the interview with me, but on December 1st, he came out and the language back then was there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have tipped the scales of the election.
And I saw on your Twitter feed this morning, John, that now former President Trump is going after McConnell, too.
The former president has put out a statement. It is a remarkable statement, both in terms of its content and its length. It is it goes on for a few pages, and it viciously attacks, first of all, Barr, calling him a rhino, a Republican in name only, and then it goes after McConnell, who, in the statement, Trump calls another beauty, and he's accusing both of these people of not being real Republicans because they have both now come out, perhaps belatedly in both cases, and said that there is nothing to these fraud claims.
Now, John, Trump still holds a lot of power in the Republican Party. How much of an impact do you think this will have on that?
Well, you know, it's such a good question, and the honest answer is I don't know. You would think that having somebody of the stature within the Trump base as Bill Barr coming out and speaking so bluntly, it would have a big impact. But there have been so many moments where you would have thought that Republicans now finally would say, you know, enough. There's nothing to what the former president is saying. It is time to move on. The bottom line, though, you saw it in Ohio. There is no other Republican in the country that can attract the kind of crowds that Donald Trump can attract, who has the kind of support among rank-and-file Republicans, even after all of this. Will this have an impact? I think this will have somewhat of an impact, but at the end of the day, at the end of this day, he's still going to be the most influential Republican in the country.
All right, Chief Washington Correspondent John Karl. John, thank you. And your book on the last days of the Trump administration betrayal is out everywhere in November. John, congrats on that as well.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.